top news stories with global newsmakers and celebrities. Email or text us your questions. Riz Khan, at this time on Al Jazeera.
As China undergoes profound changes, competition for jobs becomes a struggle to survive. Two graduates fresh out of college seek employment in a city of 8 million people. Now entering the real world, the graduates become increasingly desperate and begin to question their college-trained talents. It's a time of hope and frustration for the workforce of the future. Faces of China, at this time on Al Jazeera.
It is in the details. A look. A connection. The moments that reveal the truth. Award-winning documentaries from critically acclaimed filmmakers. Witness documentaries to open your eyes. At this time on Al Jazeera.
Decoding the stories that shape our views.
Those images catapulted the story back into the headlines.
Everything that I thought would be easy was hard, and everything that I thought would be hard was easy.
From mainstream media to consumer-led advertising.
There are other options.
What's at the front line of global media?
This has been reported worldwide.
With a major media angle to it.
Comparing news and challenging views. The Listening Post. At this time on Al Jazeera.
I have said repeatedly that I intend to close Guantanamo, and I will follow through on that.
Protesters refused to budge despite talks between the Egyptian government and opposition groups. I'm Sami Zaidan, you're watching Al Jazeera. Also making the headlines, charges in the international investigation into the assassination of Rafiq al-Hariri could be revealed soon. The WikiLeaks founder begins his fight against extradition to Sweden to face charges of sexual assault. And panic near the Thai-Cambodia border as more clashes erupt over an ancient temple. Well, pro-democracy protesters appear unmoved after talks between the government and opposition groups. Many are waking up after another cold night in Liberation Square, 2 weeks into the demonstration, and they say they still want the resignation of President Hosni Mubarak. Well, John Terrett has been following developments.
An historic meeting in Cairo. Leaders of the Muslim Brotherhood, the country's largest opposition group, banned from politics for decades, face to face with Vice President Omar Suleiman. President Mubarak's government offered some concessions, but not on the key demand that Mubarak leave office now.
No positive response was given to most of the demands. Only some cosmetic rather than substantial demands were accepted.
Gunfire startled people in Liberation Square at one point, but nothing came of it. The 14th day of protest has begun peacefully, but concerns have been expressed by some in the square that the army may try to squeeze them into a smaller area. Over the weekend, some laid down in front of the tanks, a sign of how far they're prepared to go to stop the army evicting them.
Our reaction is they slept underneath the tank to force the soldiers not to move.
We are trying to tell the whole world that Egypt is one people. It's no Christians or Muslims. We are all united against this dictator to get rid of him.
In the United States, President Obama, still walking the diplomatic high wire over Egypt, has been telling a US TV network that only President Mubarak knows what he's going to do next. But one thing's for sure, Egypt is changed forever.
Egypt is not going to go back to what it was. The Egyptian people want freedom. They want free and fair elections. They want a representative government. They want a responsive government. And so what we've said is, you have to start a transition now. Mubarak's already decided he's not running for re-election again. His term is up this year. And what we've said is, let's make sure that you get all the groups together in Egypt, let the Egyptian people make a determination. What's the process for an orderly transition, but one that is a meaningful transition?
Also watching, waiting and praying about what happens next, the people of Egypt and the thousands of demonstrators in Liberation Square who've promised not to leave until Mubarak does. John Terrett, Al Jazeera, Washington.
And this is what Liberation Square looks like at this point at just after 7 GMT. Let's talk now to Dr. Issam Al-Arian from the Muslim Brotherhood, who joins me on the line from Cairo. Thanks so much for joining us. Were your talks with the government a failure and a mistake?
No, it is not a mistake.
Well, what did it achieve?
We said from the start that any real dialogue sincerely can have fruits. We cannot not participating. We must participate in any dialogue which can face the problem, meet the demands of the people.
But it hasn't met the demands of the people, has it? Let me read you here a statement by the government spokesman, Magdi Radi, who's saying that what actually has been agreed is the following. You've agreed to propose constitutional changes, to create an office simply to receive complaints about political prisoners, and only loosen emergency laws if the security situation allows. That isn't really anything concrete, is it?
This process can encourage more people to be added to the protesters in Tahrir Square and all over the country. We have to go to the dialogue to enforce the revolution, not to yield. We are going to make more pressure in Mubarak and his regime to yield. They are stubborn till now, and I think this resistance must be ended in few hours or few days.
You used the word process there. Isn't it also true that by meeting with the government, you've reduced the pressure on President Mubarak to step down, because he can now argue to the world and say, I need to stay on to finish negotiating this transition process?
We have a roadmap for exit from this crisis according to both the sovereignty of the people and legitimacy of the revolution, and also according to legitimacy of the constitution. It means that Mr. Mubarak must dissolve the parliament and end the martial status before he steps down.
I understand those are your demands. Allow me to put the question this way then. Will you continue to participate in future talks with the government?
We are going to re-estimate the situation and then take our decision after back to our institution.
President Obama has spoken out against what he calls strains of anti-American ideology in the Muslim Brotherhood. Do you believe the US is working to undermine a transition to democracy out of fear of your group, the Muslim Brotherhood?
I think this is a good revision from Obama and his administration. They fight a long time to exclude the popular Islamic group from any political life and supporting dictatorship. They are now on the, maybe I give the exam. Are they hypocritic as they before, or are they democratic really and accept and approve the will of the people and decisions of our nation?
All right, Dr. Issam Al-Arian, thanks for talking to us. Well, highly sensitive charges to be brought by the prosecutor investigating the killing of a former Lebanese Prime Minister, Rafiq al-Hariri, are expected to be revealed on Monday. They're due to be presented at a hearing in the Netherlands and are thought to include terrorism and conspiracy charges. Well, Barnaby Phillips joins me now from Leschendam, near The Hague. Thanks for being with us, Barnaby. What will the hearing tell us about what sort of charges are forthcoming in this case?
It will give us some vital clues, Sammy, as to the wording of the indictment itself. At this pre-trial hearing, there will be a discussion about the admissibility of certain terms, the definition of words like terrorism, as you were saying, the definition of premeditated murder. If we remember back to